Welcome to Axiflow Technologies here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Since you can't go to the PAC Expo 2020 this year in Chicago, we're bringing our booth to you. My name is George Doan, and I'd like to invite you in to show you some of the things we have to offer the food and pharmaceutical processing industry. Axiflow Technologies is a U.S.-based company that started in 2009 in a partnership with Young Process Systems out of Germany. Our focus is in sanitary twin screw pumping. We can do many different types of assemblies and systems, but they all focus around using the twin screw pump for processing. So we're here to help you learn how the processes will improve, how the pumps will improve your processes. So little history on twin screw pumps. They've been in use for over 100 years now, primarily in the gas and oil industry. They work very well there because of their ability to pump low and high viscous products as well as liquid multi-phase flow. That actually lends itself to be able to be used in the sanitary industry as well. So we've started about 20 years ago in the industry using twin screw pumps in the food and pharmaceutical industry, and it works very well because of the flexibility of being able to do process and CIP. The good thing about using the pumps for CIP, it actually eliminates the use of two pieces of equipment and allows one piece, the twin screw pump, to be able to use for both processes. That'll help us eliminate bypass, controls, and the CIP return pump. Some of the other benefits behind the twin screw pump is it's virtually pulse free, so it works very well with ingredient and injection, as well as metering into fillers and so on. Also, it has a very low MPSH requirement, so we use them for pulling a high vacuum. They're used in deaerator systems, pulling out of deaerator tanks. And we also have different screw pitches that allow us to do different size soft particulate. So we're able to show you a pump that we have here in our system. Oh, and there's Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hey, George.
How are you today?
Good.
Good, good. Welcome to our show booth.
Yeah, what do you have?
So we have here our STSC 50 show pump. You can see it's going through pumping a high viscous product, exhibiting how we can do high viscosity as well as pulling up from a tank. That's the high vacuum plus low MPSH requirement.
Right.
And also pumping through. And you can see there's some air entrainment in the product as well.
What's going through here right now?
This is we use an ultrasound gel. It's a good product for us to use for shows because it has a good consistent viscosity.
Gotcha.
Keeps it throughout the day, and it really shows what the pump can do. So our
is this standard?
No, a lot of customers do ask us about this. This is for show, but it really gives a good example of what's going on inside of the pump. We can see in between the screw flanks that there's very little contact between the rotating units and the product. They just come in, move along, and then they're discharged. So that lends itself to the low shear capability of the pump.
Gotcha.
The only shear that's happening is between the screw, the outside of the screws, and in between the screw flanks. All the other material in the pump is actually just being moved like a screw conveyor would.
Gotcha. What about the seals?
So we have a few different types of seals for the Axiflow twin screw pump. It is the double silicon carbide against silicon carbide with a flush, or we have in this case a single seal. We use tungsten carbide against tungsten carbide. The benefit of using a double seal is to be.
Ask you about that.
Yeah, that's to be able to run the pump if you're in a situation where you're running the pump dry. The biggest problem you could have with the pump would be the mechanical seal. So if we put a double seal with a flush, that'll allow us to run the pump dry without damage to the seal.
For how long?
It could be run for an extended period. I've witnessed 7 hours. Now we certainly don't recommend that,
Right.
but it is possible to run it for a long period of time without it.
Precaution.
Exactly. So as far as the single seal, the tungsten carbide is very robust. It can be run for a short period of time dry for situations where you're starting a pump from a dry situation, pulling out of a tank, pulling out of a drum, so on.
What about heat? Can you ramp it?
Yes,
Chocolates and
absolutely. The pump is, we can supply a heat jacket for the pump casing, and the pump is capable of doing up to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. We can do the heat, we can do a steam seal, steam on the seal to keep that clean, and also, again, to do the jacket on the pump casing for hot water or for steam.
the maintenance and
So maintenance is very easy on the pumps. As you can see, this is a pump assembly here, but if it were in a production area, all the front end or the wet end of the pump can be accessed in place, where you just remove these 4 bolts, pull the pump casing off, it exposes the screws, the mechanical seals, and everything that you can get to that have to change.
oh, okay.
So, and as well as not just maintenance, but as well as inspection. So if you have a periodic inspection at your plant for cleanability, you can remove the casing, the end cover in the casing, and everything is visual. So you can check for visual product as well as swab for
Gotcha.
microbes.
What about tanks? Pumping out a tank.
So we use these pumps a lot for transfer, and for especially for viscous products. And once the tank level gets low, we lose some of the head pressure on the pump. So it does have good vacuum capability. I've witnessed them run up to 28 inches of mercury on the suction side for vacuum. But if you're pulling air and pulling product, these pumps will not dry lock. They will actually keep pulling product, so they'll pull some air, and as soon as product covers the outlet of the tank, it'll pull the product as well, and it'll cycle through. So that's where it gets our, we can do up to 60% in trained air, or we can just do slugs of product, and we're able to continue to strip the tank out.
Gotcha. What's on the back side here?
So typically our pumps are mounted directly to a direct drive motor with no gearbox. We do this because in this particular case, the 50 pump has the ability to run from 0.01 gallons per minute all the way up to 60 gallons per minute. So we can do process at a very low speed and then CIP at a high enough velocity to clean 2-inch lines, which is around 50 gallons a minute for CIP. It's the standard 5 feet per second for the lines. So we can do that. In this case, we're using a gearbox so we can show a much slower speed for visual effect. But we do have customers that we mount gearboxes on the pumps if CIP is not a consideration for them. So then we can lower the horsepower, add the gearbox, and be able to, excuse me, be able to control their flow much better with the gearbox. So it just depends on the application.
Is this your biggest pump?
No, this is actually the smallest pump. Again, this pump can do from 0.01 gallons per minute up to 60. And we have larger pump that we'll see in a minute. But this one of the other benefits behind twin screw is bidirectional ability. So we can flow in either direction for the pump. So as an example, we'll show you. We can reverse the pump. See the product pulling up from the top, and then we can reverse back. And there's no loss in efficiency for either direction. It's for us, it doesn't matter. So again, we could take a walk back here.
All right.
Take a look. This is our.
This is a monster.
Yeah.
What's a golf ball in there for?
This is to give you a good idea, actually, what the size of the pump is. Kind of a relational piece. This is a R125 hopper pump. It has a rectangular flange on top, and at this point it has the screws in the casing removed, so we can see inside here and also see the screws up here. The unique thing with our hopper pumps, we have them for our 70, 90, and 125 pump size. In the hopper area, we have a reduced flank width to open up the throat as much as possible to allow solids to get into the pump.
Gotcha.
This also has the standard flank width that goes in the pump casing area, so we can achieve the pressures necessary. This particular pump is good up to 145 psi on the discharge pressure. In most cases, when you're doing a soft particulate, you really don't want to see too high pressures because that will damage the product as well.
Abrasives?
So with abrasives, we have a couple options. Standard materials are F316L, for the screws and for the pump casing, intermediate flange and end cover, any product contact metals. But what we also do is standard, the screws are diffusion hardened because we have 316 against 316. If you have contact due to overpressurization, without that hardening, it'll gall. So what we'll do is, for abrasive situations, we'll have the hardened screws, and then we also have the hardened pump casing. And that doesn't eliminate wear totally, but it does give us a period of time where the pump can wear, and you'll still be able to adjust the speed with the direct drive motor to account for the wear. And then at one point in time, it gives maintenance a heads up to say, hey, let's look at this, we're starting to lose flow. We'll go ahead and replace the parts necessary.
What about seals?
So for this pump in particular, we use a Garlock lip seal. That allows us a much smaller profile in the hopper area, so we can open up and allow as much material into the product as possible.
Gotcha.
So for all of our pumps, we have stainless steel bearing housings. That is a standard for us. We also have stainless steel gear cover, or we have Teflon coated aluminum.
Nice.
So either or is possible. We have 4 different size pump frames. We have the 50 pump there, and this is the 125. In the middle, we have the 70 and the 90. So that allows us a very wide range of flows and pressure capabilities.
Tell me about certification.
So all of our pumps are 3A certified and E-Hedge certified for the European community. We actually have the new 3A certification, the 0210 spec that was just put out in October of this year.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be authorized as next week, as a matter of fact. We have our inspection. So we'll be authorized to put the new 3A symbol on the equipment.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. So.
What do we have here?
So we have many connection possibilities, anywhere from 1.5 inch to 8-inch connections on the pump, and any type of connection as well. ANSI flange, tri-clamp, eye-line, aseptic, and so on. This is an example of, this is a 4-inch tri-clamp. We can see here, this pump, the 125 can take up to an 8-inch connection on it. So this is the end cover. And then the top of the pump as well. This is the rectangular flange, but the standard intermediate flange can take up to an 8-inch connection also.
What about parts? Spare parts?
So spare parts, we have our facility in Kennesaw, Georgia. We have a full line of spare parts there. Every pump that we do have out in the field,
In stock?
In stock, we have parts there for them. So we do maintain that on a regular basis. We always, the main consideration is having parts and equipment made overseas. People are always concerned about, hey, how quickly can I get parts?
Lead time, right.
Right. So our standard delivery is 2 weeks on parts, but we do maintain a part stock for emergency. We could ship anything next day air all around the country.
Yeah, that's crucial.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So.
Good. All right, what else you have?
So over here, we have our, this is one of the systems that we do. This is, we do this all in-house at our fabrication facility down in Tampa. It's a table, obviously with a powder hopper, with a pump and a mixer, inline mixer. So this is for inducting powders into a system that can be used either as a batch system or a continuous, depending upon the requirements of the customer.
Gotcha.
So we do all the controls here. In this particular case, it's 2 VFDs and a power control box. We can do everything as manual as you see it here, all the way up to doing things automatically with a panel view and panel control, automated valves, and so on.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah, it can be as manual or as automated as customer needs.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So yeah, it's
Very
a
nice.
very nice, good workmanship at our. We do very well down at our fabrication facility.
Looks like it.
So
Let's look at this one.
no, not today. This one we're going to unveil tomorrow. This is our new style of pump, our new addition to.
I can't see it today.
Not today.
All right.
Come back tomorrow and we'll be able to see
I'll
it.
come back tomorrow.
All right. Thanks for
George.
stopping by, David. So some of the other things that we like to focus on is one of our biggest attributes is service. We maintain full service personnel to do on-site startup and maintenance training and operator training. But we also offer maintenance and operator training at our facility here in North Carolina, as well as a full pilot plant facility. We have tanks, every pump size plus tanks, and different equipment to run customers' requirements. We can do real-time process conditions and do testing after that. We do viscosity testing, visual testing, and so on. We have what we call our data logger skid, where as we're testing, we can do real-time data and record it and supply that information to the customer with a video as well.
What about training?
So training, again, we can do training here for maintenance, and then we do on-site and operator training. So if you'd like to contact us, we can go through the PMMI website. That gives our information, as well as LinkedIn and YouTube. You can leave questions on the broadcast, and we'll answer them also. And you go to our website and contact us directly. So, do we have any questions on the? No.
Tomorrow?
Okay. Tomorrow we'll be holding our second demo at 11:30 Eastern, and we'll unveil our new product then. So, we hope to see you in the morning. Thanks for stopping by.